Hi, I'm Jon Bryant. I live in the UK, and for all of my working life, I've been behind the camera of one sort or another, and that's my background. And the whole thing, for me, the real novelty about the School for Change Agents, I'm dyslexic, and the problem with being dyslexic is that you and school, particularly I mean, it's referred to as laziness. That was the technical description for it when I was at school. So having had a kind of disastrous experience of education and then being a freelancer and photographer and done all that, it was kind it was a real novelty later on in life to actually sort of come back to something that felt educational. My first impressions were, oh, there's lots of other people who like me, want to make a difference. And I realised I was a bit of a novelty because everybody around me were healthcare professionals in some shape or form, or by and large. Um, what I got out of that experience was that a lot of the things that you do instinctively, you don't know how you've learned them. It's just life. It was just a very interesting experience to go to the college and then start to hear those expressions about rocking the boat and not falling out and things like that really stick because that's what I was doing. So that sense of validation, that sense of being able to be amongst like-minded people, share that kind of, because it is a buzz. It's a really nice feeling when you're in with that kind of group, the energy that you get. One of the key things that I picked up from my time with the college, and again, I realized it was what I was doing, but is having a story. It's a narrative. It's all about heads, hearts, and minds, and that you have to get engaged with those things, and then it works. And if I bring that right through to what I've just been doing now, which is helping the NHS recruit more learning disability nurses, my approach has been to create that emotional engagement with my audience, to the point where the programs I make are often quite moving. So stories was definitely something I learned, but again, it was more validation because, as I say, you don't often realise how you operate until somebody has actually started to put some structure to that. And I'm sure everybody will get a little something else because it's like coaching. It works for everybody at the same time. You all get the same commands, but your takeaway is a very personalised thing. When I joined the college, I was actually given a sort of label, or in the nicest possible way, and that was a citizen radical. And I think that really referred to the fact that, outside of my working life, I was always just trying to do something, and maybe do it a little better. I mean, there weren't any suicide prevention toolkits out there for people with learning disabilities in the world that we could find. Um, what I'm about, I think, is always challenging the conventional wisdom because the one thing we know about the world, the universe, come to that, is everything changes and it's constantly in motion. And I think that what happens, particularly, and I see this in large organizations, is they grind to a halt almost and they cease to evolve. And they also stop listening. Um, and so sometimes that fresh pair of eyes that I can bring on something can come up with different ways of doing things, new ways of doing things, which are perhaps more appropriate. I had an ambition that, it's fine me doing these things, in my office and creating these programs for housing associations and stuff like that. But I really wanted to get a bit more recognition. And so that was my journey and my goal. And I think I was able to progress that, because of the stuff that I learned at the college. Um, Things were just getting interesting, and then all of a sudden, the pandemic hit. And I found myself involved in a WhatsApp conversation from somebody that I'd spoken to, I think, 2 years ago when I was researching the suicide prevention stuff. And they said, oh, we could make a video. And I didn't know who these people were. And I thought, oh, come on. I put my hand up. And I said, well, I can probably help you with that. Long story short, we then set about really building a strong network through Twitter. We got some well-known celebrities and actors to come on board and be part of what we were doing. And we used an Avril Lavigne song called "Keep Holding On," and we named our team "Keep Holding On." It's hashtag Keep Holding On, and that the reason that came into being was there were all these learning disability students who were just about to go on their final placement, which is an absolutely vital part of what they were doing. Of course, because the hospitals were in a state of alarm and crisis, these students were really sidelined and were really, really demoralized. So we started off really just trying to support them. And we then found that because of our social networking, we were now actually supporting the whole of the learning disability community, not only in the UK, but it was beginning to spread a bit further. And again, long story short, the team were shortlisted finalists for the Nursing Times Annual Awards um, and also the Royal College of Nursing. And we did well. To get 9,500 views of a video from a standing start from, zero, um, it was quite an achievement, and that wasn't the only video. So we've run up about 25,000 views, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, the main takeaways. I say for me it was validation, but it's going to be different for everybody. But I think you know, in a funny way, the moment you've made that step to say I want to engage with the school, what you've actually said is that I am ready in some way um, to perhaps challenge your own direction and be more. If you may have things that you've seen at your place of work that you just think this could be better, but you don't know how to go about it. And I think what the school does is, in a way, it teaches you to challenge the conventional wisdom and then give you the confidence and the tools so that actually you can make a difference. You can start to do stuff. And you're probably going to meet people on the course who then become your allies. And it's really important to have allies. I was a novelty because I didn't come from a healthcare background. And, what I felt so strongly is that actually it's people like me outside of the healthcare system who just see something in a different light, and working with those people, working with other creatives, is something I think that the school should embrace more, because I think this is all about diverse thinkers and diverse learners. The whole journey was following the sort of steps. What was fascinating about the team, that they had all come out of structures, complex structures and hierarchies. That sense of relief and that they got from working in a complete flat structure that could have an idea, agree it, and deliver it in an hour was unheard of. And for them, actually, it was that lack of structure and having a flat team with one goal. And we're continuing now. We're just sensing currently where the needs are, and then we will just morph into that. Because again, if you become too fixed in your ideas, um, then actually that tends to preclude change. And the whole point of going to the college for me was really to understand in a more complete way how you deliver change. I have recommended the school, attending the school, to two of the people in the Keep Holding On team, because there's something in them that just needs that bit of endorsement, that bit of encouragement to step out of what might be a fairly linear career progression. And I think what they learned, which again for me probably wasn't so unfamiliar, but was that you could get out and reach out on social media. You could create networks. You could create a buzz. Realised. So we had our own story about how the team came together, because remarkably, until the awards ceremony, the team had never met in person. We didn't know each other. So for that group of people to come together from all over the UK who've never met with one idea and one ambition, and then deliver on it, you know, that was a good thing to be part of. I think so much of it is to do with confidence and self belief. Because if you're going to change something, it's really easy. I am what they call a citizen radical, but actually my background is that I've been a corporate video director for going on 40 years. What I loved about the school, for me personally, is that my experience of education was a disaster. Coming back to the school and having a meeting all those like-minded people, that was fantastic for me. And what it did was it validated an awful lot of the things that were instinctive, but you don't normally have any other way of validating those things. You can't say to a client, "Am I doing it right?" Um, whereas this was a kind of safe playground, if you like, where you could exchange ideas. And I think, that there was a sense of liberation that I took away from the school, and it's still there now. And I am, an OAP citizen radical, and I'm still at it.